Welcome to Swift Coaches Academy, a podcast dedicated to bringing exercise and health professionals the uncensored truth behind what it really takes to succeed in the health industry with me, your host, Zenia Wood. As an accredited exercise physiologist and the founder of Swift Coaches Academy with almost a decade of experience, I'm on a mission to transform the lives of ambitious health professionals who want more and are ready to take action to create incredible impact and financial freedom. So join me as I speak candidly with industry leaders about the struggles and successes from within the trenches through thought-provoking conversations.
In this podcast episode, we'll explore how businesses can create wow experiences for their clients to stand out from the competition. We'll also discuss what a wow experience is, why it's crucial to prioritize them, and provide examples of wow experiences we've had ourselves and what we've offered to our clients. If you're not currently under-promising and over-delivering in your business, buckle up and tune in. This episode's for you.
Claire, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you doing?
I am pretty good. Well, no, actually, I have the sniffles. But look, I am at home, not around anyone, so I've only given it to my boyfriend. We share. Right. It's just sharing.
Sharing is caring.
You know? Exactly.
That's part of the deal. No, love it. All right. I would love for this podcast episode, if I could deep dive into your business, your experience in business, and how you create wow experiences or go above and beyond for your clients. Let's dig a little deeper into that and why you do it and how you do it.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we start with what I originally did back in the day when I was just a sole trader working for myself, because there's probably a lot of people in that boat.
Perfect.
And sometimes it feels like, if you're only one person, what can I really do? So I think the story that comes to mind most with this for me is the story of every single Saturday after I had worked 5.5 days, I would go down to the cafe downstairs and below the gym, and I would literally get my laptop out, have my lunch, and write emails to every single one of my clients and CC in their entire allied health team.
Wow.
So it took me, at least an hour, maybe 2 every Saturday at like 2 p.m. So I didn't finish work till late-ish on a Saturday. And I would do this to help build relationships with the allied health professionals. But honestly, the main reason that I did it was because I, was working with some people who, were, I guess, potentially more skilled in certain areas than me, like physiotherapists, for example. And if I was going to change some of the exercises that they were being given by their physio, I didn't want the physio to be like, she's shit, or don't ever go back to her. I wanted to create an open dialogue and say, hey, look, I think we need to change some of these exercises. I've done X, Y, Z. If you have any more feedback, or if you want anything added in or changed or adjusted, please let me know. This is what I've done for these reasons, and almost kind of make sure that I was the one who was asking them for feedback, as opposed to we're doing this because I said so. It's more, I think, these things might need to be navigated, or, this is the problem, and I'd love for you to give me some guidance or advice if you have anything on how we can best manage this together and create their involvement in it so that they could be the authority and say, do X, Y, Z. And I'd be like, awesome, great. And then take it and put my own flair on it. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so that was early days. And I think the reason that is a very powerful conversation to have is that what ended up happening as a result of that was obviously a lot of really great relationships with referrers and just being front of mind all the time, because, you don't get barely anyone respond to you and you go, why the fuck am I doing this after week 8, 12, 26 of it? But what happened was I was training a client who was a bodybuilder. And she was, just a novice bodybuilder, but she had a physio and she also had a bodybuilding coach. And I'm obviously not a bodybuilder. That's not my expertise. I was in rehab. And so I was changing up some of the programming because I was like, hey, look, these things are flaring up her neck. And I want to make sure that she's still getting enough volume or load through her delts without flaring up, the pain in her neck she's experiencing. I've swapped this out for that. Please let me know if that's okay, if there's anything we need to adjust in the programming outside of that so that she can still build the muscular development that she needs to step on stage in 8 weeks or whatever it was. I sent those emails for about 8 weeks to this bodybuilding coach. And then on the back of like the 8th email in a row weekly that I'd sent, she emailed back. I hadn't heard anything from her up until this point, and said, hey, it had nothing to do with the client. She said, hey, I don't know if you know who I am, but my name's Alicia Gowans and I'm the current world champion bodybuilder for the WBFF Foundation. And I want you to do a rehab assessment on me and work with me potentially for the next couple of months leading up to world championships, because I'm struggling with some pain in my back and glutes. And I was like, oh, okay. So she is reading my emails, even though she's not responding to them.
Yeah, left unread, but it's okay.
But yeah, so, the client was also talking to her about it. But the thing that Ali ended up saying to me years later was I was really impressed with, your professionalism and the way that you managed the situation, and the fact that, you were very much coming and asking me for help and guidance when technically her qualifications on paper is, personal trainer. But I was like, I'm not a bodybuilder, so I don't know. And so coming from that place of humility and saying like, actually, that's not my scope. I just want to make sure that we're navigating both the rehab and the performance side of this together. And then she ended up, saying, I remember writing in my notes for the first session, it was like, I just want to work with you for 3 months. And 6 years later, we're still here working together. So
what a testament to like the power of that, right? Like,
yeah. So I think that's the start to creating a wow experience, is really just, and I want to make sure that today's conversation isn't about, what could you add in terms of your services or your offers, but what happens outside of that. Because I think that when we think about wow experiences, most of the time you don't go, they had the best machine that did the thing. That's not what you relay. You relay, oh my God, the person who I was working with really cared about me, or, every time that I went to the nail salon, they said my name and, they put a wet towel next to me, and like just little things that make a huge difference that has nothing to do with your skill set. I don't care if you're a day one PT or if you've been in the industry for 20 years, like everyone can create a greater care for their clients than they're currently doing in little ways that are really, really powerful.
Absolutely. And I guess as well, like on the back of that story, right? Alicia obviously saw how helpful that was in terms of you really cared about your client. But imagine also, like, I can imagine that myself being a client and having my coach emailing or checking in with other allied health professionals that I'm working with. Like, I would feel very looked after. I would feel like, hey, my team are working together and I feel very much like I am being looked after, and it's not lots of people pulling me in different directions. There's this like sort of team of humans making sure that I am getting the best or doing the best. And I think that would be like, I would definitely be talking to other people about that if I had a team that was doing that. So that's definitely like, yeah, from a client's perspective, I can imagine that would have been like a wow experience for sure.
Yeah. And I think when you're the one who's instigating those scenarios, those relationships, those conversations, you are then the central hub that holds the glue together. Because if you left that relationship, now they all have to try and maybe not navigate conversations together by themselves. But if you're the one who effectively like is the case manager of this client and their rehab journey or their health journey or whatever it is, and you can liaise with their dietitian, a podiatrist, like any allied health, or even, I don't know, if you wanted to, you could go down and talk to their fucking grocer or their butcher and be like, hey, this, if you're a dietitian, like maybe they need a certain percentage of whatever, right? Like, just get creative with who are the people that help support them in their life to achieve the things that they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, like if on the same brain thought, as you've just mentioned there, like their grocer and their butcher, you could do everyone, but even just reaching out to their significant others or their family, because, a lot of the time when you're, I guess use our example, if you're going through rehab, like that's a pretty lonely place. It's also like, it's very difficult to, if you've never been through rehab yourself and your partner or your brother or your sister or your mum is doing it, sometimes it can be a bit confusing as to understanding what that is like for them. And so if I had my brother was going through rehab recently, and if someone had reached out to me and gone, hey, like, look, it's going to be a bit tricky for him for the next couple of weeks. This is what usually, this is some of the challenges he might be going through. And this is where you might be able to help. And like that would be like not only game changing for the client, but like I would turn around and be like, well, I didn't even have your service, but now I'm going to talk about you. Like that's a really incredible opportunity. And so, yeah, that's an awesome piece of feedback you've given us.
And so, oh, you go.
You go. I'll go. So I guess if we're, going back to the original question, if you're trying to create a wow experience and we know that it doesn't have anything to do with, your skill set or your tools, what are some avenues that you think that people could probably try and implement into their business, some ways that they can do this straight off the bat?
So I think first thing to note is it will absolutely involve your skill set. But for today's conversation, I think what we'd love to share is things that don't have to. Like, obviously, if you're a shift practitioner, you're not getting results, game over.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter.
Like, being good.
Yeah. But let's say that you're already pretty great and you want to create wow experiences. The ways that you can do that don't require you to go and study at university or whatnot, which I think is absolutely going to add value in terms of your knowledge and skill set, but the things that you can do right here, right now, today, that require no additional education on your part, regardless of what your qualifications are. We did a really cool thought exercise at our business immersion last week, and I'd love to share my answers with you, because we were talking about the difference between delivering on expectations and exceeding expectations. And so, I guess I'm just going to read the list out, because what our customers are expecting from us is to move better, feel better, remove the obstacles holding them back in life, build better healthy habits around exercise. They're also expecting individualized programs. They're expecting to work with a qualified rehab expert. They're expecting programs in a timely manner. They're expecting responses in a timely manner. They're expecting to reduce their risk of re-injury. They're expecting to build confidence in their bodies and build strength. Those are the things that they expect. So if we just do that, while those things are all pretty impressive, if we did those, that's delivering on the expectation. That's not exceeding the expectation. So you get to set your expectations. And I don't recommend lowering your expectations. I recommend going above and beyond those in ways that can be really creative and really impactful for the client. So the cool thing about this exercise is because I noticed a lot of other people in the room that we're in was kind of like, oh, well, we could spend an extra 15 minutes with them, or we could, talk to them a bit more. But I was like, let's send it. And I just wrote this huge list. So these are the list of ways that we believe in our business we could be over delivering on expectations. So outside of doing all the things that we just said, additional things we could be doing: birthday presents. We could be attending all of their sporting events or their active lifestyle events like parkrun. We could have phone call check-ins instead of text check-ins every single week. We could have celebration parties when they get out of pain, which is pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Like, who else does that? Like, who does a party when it's like you're out of pain? Because it's a fucking huge deal for people. But like, no one has a party for when you do that. And so if we did that, that would be a wow experience. You invite their family, their friends, the rest of the community of, the clients that you have, and like everyone gets involved. I think that would be awesome. Communicating weekly with the allied health team. We've already said that. Also doing having coffees with them regularly at the cafe next door, and really just checking in and seeing how they are as a human, not just like how's your programming, how's your training, but like what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
We could also pay for their physio treatment. So I just went wild with these. I was like, fuck it. If we had no limit to time, money, resources, fully kitted out merch. So could we get like full head to toe Swift kit for them? Could we have family sessions and have their family come in and train at certain times or open gym times? Could we do nutrition or mindset workshops or any other sort of like educational things? And like you alluded to, sitting down with their family to help them fit rehab into their lifestyle and navigate those tough times for them. And then some social events for their friends and family to join in as well as the clients. And then I also thought something that would be cool would be giving them something like electrolytes when they arrive to every session, so that, you know, if they haven't had brekkie or whatever, they've got some carbohydrates on board so they can get the best out of their session. And then they could get some like protein powder on the way out of their session. So every single session they're getting something to take away with them. That was my list.
I love it. It just speaks so much. Exactly as you were saying each one, I was thinking, wow, like literally thinking how wow. And like that really speaks to the whole point of it, right? Like you mentioned before, you don't want to lower your standards in order to over deliver, but you really want to set your standards. This is what we offer, but actually this is what you get. And just really, you know, exceed expectations from every aspect of your business, which, I mean, you wouldn't have any trouble being in business if you over-delivered in those capacities. I mean, I want a pain out of pain party. That's cool.
We should absolutely do some of these things. I mean, like, obviously putting these things into place will take a little bit of time, but a lot of them, it's like having a coffee with your client next. Like, it's really, like, it's not hard to do these things, but it is going to take you time to actually show care. But like, how much is a client worth to you? Like, ideally, and you like them, let's hope. Yeah. So you want to learn about their life anyway. It's not a transactional thing where you're like, oh, well, I need to have a coffee with them because then they'll stay with me longer. It's like, no, I'm here to get them the best result in the time that they're with us. And I want them to walk away whenever they're ready to leave and you know, start a new part of their journey, because we know that clients are not forever clients most of the time. You know, even if their life cycle is 8 years, you know, they move interstate, or, you know, they decide that they want to do powerlifting instead of bodybuilding now, or whatever it is, there are going to be, you know, very few people who stay with us long term. And so creating experiences while they are there, so that, you know, if they ever do need to come back, or their uncle gets injured or whatever it is, that they don't just go, oh, I got rehab here and it was like it was good, as opposed to like, oh my God, did you know that we got to have out a pain party? Like, that's the shit that you like. And you know, like, still delivering on the result, but then above and beyond that, I think there are so many opportunities to make little differences. And I just remember when I was at Go Health Clubs, there was a personal trainer there, and she was average at best. But what she would do is, like, on birthdays for all of her clients, they got flowers and like a fucking new pair of shoes from Rebel Sport. And like, she just went all out. And her clients loved her. They went to her birthday parties. Like, they had, you know, they were so close to family to her. And because of that, she was she had no space in her books, because she just, every single time. And I just remember the other thing that she would always say, and I think she genuinely believed it. It was a little bit funny. But she used to do 30-minute sessions, and she'd be out in the tea room, and then she'd go to walk out and train the next client. She's like, just changing lives 30 minutes at a time. So, you know, I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. We're changing lives, whether that was, you know, meant ironically or not. But she really did create wow experiences, and I think that's why her people loved her, and actually did get a better result as a result of it. Yeah, because she really did care, and she was there for them in the times that sucked and the times that were great.
Yeah. I mean, I think as you're saying that, I'm thinking like, I mean, this is a bit of a weird comparison, but like, run with me on it. It's kind of like dating, right? Like, when you first start dating someone, it's very exciting because there's new things, and like, they're constantly trying to make sure you feel valued and cared for. And if it's a good relationship, like, it just doesn't stop after you say, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend or I'll be your boyfriend, or, you know, that doesn't happen technically, but, you know, you get the point. It's like a continued, hey, like, I just want to let you know I still care. It's that coffee in the morning, or I made myself a coffee and I made you one too. It's like, hey, it's your birthday and I know that you like going skydiving, so we're going to do that. Like, it's things like that. And like, why should a business or a client relationship be any different? It's just constantly showing, hey, like, I care about you. And I'm going to do it through all these cool experiences. And why not have a pain party or like, you know, go bowls, something like that.
Or why not, like, and even to that point, right? Like, if you're in a relationship and it does start to fizzle, like, are you putting in the same amount of effort? And this sort of comes back to like, how much effort did you put to get that person to work with you initially? And then how much effort are you still putting into them? Because if you're putting more effort in getting them through the doors, it's like, you know, you put in the effort to get someone to sleep with you and then they've slept with you and then you're like, cool, job done, they're still here. As opposed to like, you know, or whatever that is for you, like they're dating you and now you're together in a relationship. And then it's like, are you like, did you used to bring them flowers once a month? And you're like, well, they're my girlfriend now, so I don't need to do that anymore. And it's like, that shit's gonna like start to fester over a long period of time and you're gonna lose that relationship because the reasons that they initially were so, you know, excited about the prospect of you in their life was because of these incredible things that you were doing, and then you stop doing those. So regardless of whether it's a relationship or it's a client, if we can continue to create incredible experiences, we continue to maintain incredible relationships, and that's really the crux of how we get incredible results.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Perfect. I feel like we stop it there.
Yeah, absolutely. Nailed it.
See ya.
If you enjoyed this episode, it'd honestly mean the world to us if you could share it with a friend or on your socials, follow and leave a quick review so that we can bring you more real, raw and uncensored stories from industry leaders. We also love hearing your feedback, so please DM us on Instagram at Swift Coaches Academy if you have suggestions for future guests or topics. Until next time, and in whatever you do, move swiftly.